Well, that was one of the more high profile, horrible attack that's been going on to Planned Parenthood recently. You recently covered for Rolling Stone, and by the way, congratulations on the Rolling Stone gig. Congrats. That's a pretty awesome, yeah, you have a couple pieces there. But the one we want to talk about first is how hackers are actually using cyber attacks on abortion providers. And this is really pretty frightening stuff. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I think what made me most excited about writing this piece is that an outlet like Rolling Stone that is not repo focused was willing to let me do a piece with context, right? So it's one thing for when the story got assigned to me that it was a week ago Sunday, so it'll be like a week and a half ago when this airs, a group of, they're calling themselves a group of, we don't really know anything. That's the thing with the online stuff, right? A group of hackers, got in contact with the online publishing outlet, the Daily Dot, and told them that they had successfully breached, the servers at Planned Parenthood and gotten a hold of all this provider information, names, addresses, email addresses. We don't really have any way to know that's true. Planned Parenthood doesn't have any verification. As best we can tell, they haven't actually published anything, but they were threatening to publish a list of providers, which is a big deal. It doesn't sound like as big a deal to people who are outside of this and not as in tune with the history of anti-abortion terrorism and violence as your listeners would be, which is why I was excited that it is in a publication as mainstream as Rolling Stone. But this has a long history. The Nuremberg Files was a website where they had it was literally just a list of abortion providers. And the legend said, black font, working, grayed out name, wounded, strike through, fatality. And it ended up getting taken down. There were prosecutions that followed this. People were killed. This is a big deal. David Cohen, who I've quoted on your show before, is the author of Living in the Crosshairs. He and his co-author, Kristen Connon, spent years interviewing over 100 providers, and as a lawyer and a repo and gender expert, he spent, this is literally his area. And for him, he said that the second he heard that there was a group threatening to release a list of provider names and information, the first thing he thought of was the Nuremberg Files. And there's just, we live in a climate where a list of names is dangerous and threatening, and every provider in the country lives with that collective memory. So even if this group didn't actually get the names, aren't actually going to be able to decrypt anything and release it, just announcing that they did so is a way to intimidate and threaten people who are doing hero work and providing abortions. And it's also an attempt to make people concerned about visiting their local Planned Parenthood, which they shouldn't. Right. If Planned Parenthood is the clinic in your neighborhood, you should go. You should feel comfortable about that. You'll get good care. Your information will be kept secret, just as it always has been. But just finding a way to put hack and Planned Parenthood in a headline, people, this isn't like don't go shop at Target because Target stuff got hacked, right? There are places where Planned Parenthood is the only clinic, the only healthcare provider, the only place to get STI testing, right? And so this could just making people nervous to go to the largest reproductive healthcare provider in the country. They see 2.7 million patients every year. Like that could cause a public health crisis, and that's what these people are after.
So we don't know what they got, but they actually did shut down some websites for some time with an attack, correct?
Yeah, we don't know if it's the same group. So that the supposed hack of the server that we have no confirmation about because nothing has been released was a week ago Sunday, and then on Wednesday, both of Planned Parenthood's websites went down. They have the PAC website, which does the political action side, and then their nonprofit website, which does the actual healthcare providing. Both of those went down in something that's called a DDoS attack. So it's a hacker tactic where they basically flood the server and overload it to shut it down. So it requires coordination, and the Planned Parenthood websites went down on Wednesday, and then Thursday morning, the National Network of Abortion Funds and the Abortion Care Network, their websites both went down. The reason that group together was a big deal to me and to people that I talked to who didn't want to look in their crystal balls on the record, but just from chatting with people around the industry, the reason that group is a big deal for me is that it tells me that this group that's doing these attacks isn't just like some dude who's like hoping to get in somewhere and like impress somebody.
Right.
Because if you don't know much about how abortion care is provided in this country, you'd go after a more obvious sounding name like the National Abortion Federation, right? A place that says that they represent providers. It's a provider group. But if you're going after ACN and you're going after the National Network of Abortion Funds, you're actually trying to take down the websites of the places that do the actual care, right? Planned Parenthood's a primary provider, and National Network of Abortion Funds and Abortion Care Network are ancillary providers in that they help connect people to care and they help coordinate care around the country. That is a big deal. The people that are doing this know who they're targeting. They know who to go after to actually cause harm to people that are seeking this care, and that makes me nervous.
Yeah, and just the kind of many levels of intimidation. And you and I have talked many times on the show about how abortion doctors have been killed, how staff members at Planned Parenthood are constantly intimidated. You yourself are a clinic escort, so I mean you see this stuff firsthand, and the terror that these groups cause, and the fact that they're going. I mean, that theoretically, just the idea that like, oh yeah, we have all your addresses now. We have theoretically. I mean, they may not have any of this stuff. So we have no idea what they actually got. And so we're intimidating the doctors and the staff and the nurses, and we're also intimidating potential patients. Is unbelievably nefarious and really, really evil as hell.
Right. Tell me again how this is all about life, right?
Yeah.
You want people living in terror. I mean, this is, and for the, don't go read the comments, but for people in the comment thread at Rolling Stone who think that it's ridiculous that the experts that I interview call this domestic terrorism. I mean, again, the FBI shorthand definition of a domestic terrorism says Americans attacking Americans based on U.S.-based extreme ideologies. That's what this is.
Period,
it's an extreme ideology motivating them to cause terror. They're in a time when we already have almost 90% of our counties don't have providers. We can't really afford for anyone to be running around making it harder to do this work.